Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Matt Meyer. I'm the Newcastle County Executive. Welcome everyone to our public safety building. Today we're talking about something very, very important to the county, the state, and the country, and that is bulletproof vests and work that the senator is leading on the federal level. Senator Chris Coons, the former county executive, is leading on the federal level to make all of us safer here in Newcastle County. Last year we received $21 million of federal assistance, partnerships we've gone into with the federal government to make lives safer and higher quality here in Newcastle County. Assistance like Section 8 vouchers, so people can have a safe, quality place to live. Assistance like public safety grants that keep us all safer. Assistance like grants that enable us to do farmers markets across our county. Much of that is due to the fine work of the former county executive. In addition, we should celebrate here for a minute today that we're here to recognize that we're doing things to make lives safer. You know, when something happens outside of these walls and somebody gets hurt, it hits the front page of the newspaper. We see it come across our TV and on our web feeds. When we do something to make lives safer, it doesn't always make the news. But today we should at least recognize that the senator is out there leading the way to do something to make our lives safer, and the lives of many people in this room, our first responders, safer. And that is the Bulletproof Vest Partnership. The city of Wilmington, the largest city in our county, has already received 65 bulletproof vests through this partnership, and our county, Newcastle County, has applied for 200 bulletproof vests through this partnership. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the chief of the state police chiefs council, Chief Bill Bryson of Camden Police Department.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank Senator Coons for his continued support of law enforcement and particularly of the Bulletproof Vest Partnership program. Law enforcement in Delaware has received hundreds, if not thousands, of vests over the life of this program, which I believe started in 1999. The program pays for up to 50% of the cost of each vest. Depends upon how many departments in the country apply at the time you're applying. I know Camden, the department I come from, has received probably 20 vests since I've been there. Some years we get 20% of the cost of the vest, some years we get 50% of the cost. But it's a great program. It's allowed law enforcement in Delaware to have vests that are updated regularly. The lifespan on a vest is typically 5 years. So 5 years, you've got this same investment to replace that product. They're custom fitted for each officer, and it's a guaranteed level of safety that the officers have. And the program is a great program. We'd like to thank Senator Coons for his support. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Inspector Cecilia Ash, and I'm representing the City of Wilmington Police Department. Senator, on behalf of Chief Tracy, who unfortunately could not be here today because he's traveling down to Washington, D.C., we appreciate you inviting us here today to speak on this important fact, which is officers risk their lives every day. And, you know, they put their lives on the line, and it's the thoughtfulness that you do every day in Washington, D.C. that does not go unrecognized. And the efforts that your staff does to make sure that these legislative things go through, we appreciate those efforts and applaud you and your staff for doing that. And law enforcement across the state, you know, these are significant costs to a police department, and we have to look at the sustainability, and you give those, you know, you give us that opportunity to do that. So we appreciate that, and on behalf of the men and women in law enforcement and the City of Wilmington Police Department, we thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. just also want to echo the same feelings. Thank you very much, Senator, for your efforts. As we know in law enforcement, we face a more aggressive individuals who have shown us that they are willing to arm themselves with a firearm. And more concerning is the fact that many of these individuals are now turning their firearms onto officers. New Castle County alone, this year we've had 2 incidents where our officers were actually shot at by suspects that they were attempting to apprehend. There's no question about the value of the vests that we wear. They save lives. They cost a lot of money, and they are a strain to many agencies. But it's through the efforts of Senator Coons and his staff to make sure that all officers, regardless of their agency, has an opportunity to have those vests, because those vests are what we need in order to protect and save the lives of those that are out there protecting and serving. So again, sir, we thank you, and we appreciate what you're doing for law enforcement. Thank you.
On February 11th, 2013, Sergeant Michael Manley and Corporal Steve Reinhardt were simply on the job doing their duty as members then of the Capitol Police Force. And as many in this room know, a shooting incident broke out in the lobby of the New Castle County Courthouse. Both officers were shot. Both officers survived. Both officers were wearing bulletproof vests purchased through the federal Bulletproof Vest Partnership. To County Executive Meyer, to Chief Bond, to Chief Horvath, and Chief Bryson, and to Inspector Ash, thank you for joining me here for this brief press conference. This is one of the things that is a small but real way that the federal government supports state and local law enforcement. And in my 10 years in county government, I came to appreciate, across a very wide range of programs, as the county executive mentioned, ways in which the federal government provided critical support for emergency management, for 911, for fire and for police, for housing, for recreation, for land preservation, for lots of different programs. But I happen to have the opportunity to succeed Senator Biden in serving on the Judiciary Committee, which is responsible for federal law enforcement programs. And recently I've had the opportunity to join the Appropriations Committee, which funds law enforcement priorities. Early on in my term in the Senate, I looked to join the Law Enforcement Caucus. I presumed there would be a Law Enforcement Caucus in the Senate. And to my surprise, there wasn't. So I found a Republican partner, Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri, and we jointly formed the Senate Law Enforcement Caucus. And the purpose of that caucus is to prioritize the federal, state, local partnership in law enforcement. And to my surprise, there was at that point, serving senator who opposed this Bulletproof Vest Partnership. In fact, he steadfastly opposed its authorization and its funding year after year. And I brought these 2 officers, Sergeant Manley and Corporal Reinhardt, I brought their stories to him and challenged him on the floor to explain to me why he thought we shouldn't continue to fund this partnership. For him, it was just a matter of ideology. He just thinks that the federal government shouldn't be supporting state and local first responders. Fortunately, he's now retired. After he left the Senate, I was able to work in a bipartisan way with Senator Blunt, Senator Sessions, and others to get the Bulletproof Vest Partnership program reauthorized. And fortunately, despite that one senator's vigorous opposition, it was funded and is this year once again funded. It's funded at about $22.5 million. And I'm very hopeful that applications up and down this state from agencies large and small will continue to be funded and get a 50% match. This is a program that is all about officer safety. It's all about officer safety in a time when, as you heard from Chief Bond, those who would do harm to officers are more and more using higher capacity, higher lethality weapons, and where, because of the range of officers serving, we need anatomically correct, personally fitted vests, and they need to be replaced on a 5-year rotation. For many agencies, large and small, across the country, that's expensive, and it often, historically, would fall into the lower echelon of replacement items. I think this is a great federal partnership. I think it is a way that the federal government can insist on state-of-the-art vests that are regularly tested and that meet the latest needs of law enforcement in the field are the ones that are fielded, and to make sure that agencies of all sizes have a competitive opportunity to access this life-saving technology. There's other things we're working on in the Senate, continuing to support the Burn and JAG grants that sustain an awful lot of overtime and training and equipment, and continuing to sustain the COPS program, through which it's my hope that agencies in Delaware will continue to expand opportunities for foot patrol and for expanding their total sworn force. All three of these are areas where my predecessor, former Vice President Biden, was a real leader and was a persistent and effective advocate on behalf of state and local law enforcement, and I'm simply honored to have the opportunity to continue in that tradition. I want to thank the Delaware Police Chiefs Council for being such good partners up and down the state and for helping my staff and I understand the issues and challenges facing law enforcement. And I want to thank the Chief and Inspector for making sure that two of our three largest agencies that have been terrific and active partners are represented today. And I want to thank the County Executive for hosting this brief press conference. It is a great honor to be back in this room. And I just want to say, in my 17 years in public service, the greatest honor has been the opportunity to support the men and women of Newcastle County. So thank you for a chance to be with you today. I appreciate everyone's presence at the press conference, and I think we'll take questions over here. Thank you very much for coming.